Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com.
Well, welcome to another Workshop Wednesday brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com, which is all about casual conversations for serious workflows. Did that sound all right? I just got a little blurb that I was disconnected or something.
Nope, you're not disconnected.
Okay, excellent. I hate to be talking to nobody, but here I am. Here I am talking with Rachel and Matthew, joining us from north of the border. And Happy New Year to both of you and everyone that might be watching. Did you have a good holiday, Rachel?
Yes, and on the New Year's Eve, I actually stayed up till midnight.
Oh,
That's the first time I did that in years.
Very nice. How about you, Matthew?
Yeah, great holiday. Normally I try to leave the Canadian winter for a bit to go somewhere warm, but just got a new puppy a few months ago, so he was not travel ready. So we stayed home, did the whole family thing, but it was great to have some time off.
And since we are having the casual conversation, Matt, I have to ask you, are you wearing your Hey Dudes?
Oh no, I'm wearing my indoor comfy shoes, but my Hey Dudes are my outdoor. Again,
I know
compensating for comfort.
So for those that don't at Intuit Connect, when we connected at Intuit Connect, Matt was giving me a hard time about my shoes, the Hey Dudes, and at one point he said, "Are they really that comfortable?" And I just tossed them to him, and he put them on, and he was like, "Wow, these are pretty comfortable."
It was like Cinderella's slipper. It was like a glove. It just felt so great, and that's why Dan, I think, is so happy. He's just comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, you got to bring the comfortable shoes to Vegas too. I've learned my lesson the hard way with that.
Yeah, well, you have a distinct disadvantage, just because heels are a thing that I don't know that any of us will be able to manage walking around, especially in Las Vegas with that kind of footwear.
Yeah,
just waiting for the heel dudes to come out.
That, yeah, that would be. I did get a new pair for the holidays, but so that was under the tree for me. So since you are Canadian, Matt, I did want to ask, can you fill us in what the heck Boxing Day is and how that fits in with the holidays.
Good question. Do I know the history of Boxing Day? I think I did at one point, but I think it's just we're not ready to go back to work the day after Christmas. I think that's the gist of it. So we said, let's take another day.
Yeah. And what box are they talking about? Is it is it a box? Is it boxing like fisticuffs boxing, or is it just boxing of putting? Is it a verb, or is it a noun of a box?
I guess it depends if you get your partner the right gift or not.
Yeah, I think it's like it's like day for returns. You box it up and return it, right? Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Maybe it's kind of like I feel in Canada we go of course, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is a thing here as well, but Boxing Day deals is where a lot of people wait to shop kind of after Christmas for their things, and that's where a lot of the clearance items and sales and things like that.
Cool.
Well, okay. So I think you need to turn in your Canadian card there, because if you don't know what Boxing Day is.
All you need to know is that they do everything strange in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of these things we didn't look into that much. But we're thankful for the day, and let's just not look into it too much, because who knows where the origin from it came out, and we don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So
You'll probably find out be disappointed in the origin.
I know.
Yeah.
Probably Mr. Boxing and did some bad things. Who knows?
Right. It's like Columbus Day, right? Anyway, okay. So moving on from obscure holidays to this is part of our series that we've been having with Katana and Sean, who will be joining us in a couple weeks, where we'll be talking about just in general building things. We've been doing this comparison of QuickBooks Enterprise in the inventory functionalities of the desktop product, and how that might correlate or translate with something in cloud-based like Katana. And Matt, you have some history with Katana, so talk a little bit about that for those that are just joining in maybe today as a brand new year.
Absolutely. So I'll do a quick intro here. So my name's Matt Sullivan, and I used to work at Katana as their head of sales, and then basically moved on to start a consulting company because I saw just the gaps in the market and where a lot of companies need help with the inventory software consulting. And there's not it's a relatively new category altogether. So we help companies whenever they're moving, doing digital transformation, or maybe moving from an old ERP system or from QuickBooks Desktop or enterprise program to more of a cloud offering for their tech stack. There's gaps, and it's not just a direct move from desktop to online and just flip the switch and now it's in the cloud.
No, it's not.
Exactly. So there's so much stuff that differs between the programs, and so from desktop enterprise to QBO, you're missing out a lot of your manufacturing functionality, your complex inventory management tracking, and things like that. So this is where an inventory tool or maybe a manufacturing software is needed in that transition to add on to QBO to make up for some of the parts that that program is lacking in those areas.
Now, do you primarily stay within underneath the Katana umbrella of services or offerings that you support, or does ABX work with all matters of software solutions are out there?
Yeah, so ABX, we started out being software agnostic. We knew that there's no real silver bullet, one size fit all inventory manufacturing software solution. There's lots of areas where one tool may be perfect for one company and not work for another company. So there's certain things such as different industries. If you're in food and beverage, you might need batch and expiry tracking functionality, which might not be in another inventory or manufacturing software. So basically, it's so we knew that Katana is not going to be the fit 100% of the time. So we started out knowing that we needed to work with a suite of different alternatives and then match up the right software to the client depending on their requirements, their other software tools that they may need to integrate with, and their workflows and their processes and everything that they need to then find them the best option rather than just to have one option that we use every single time. So we really try to find that long-term fit that's actually going to save them save the customer time at the end of the day. And sometimes if you're picking the wrong solution, that's going to take more time than they're actually saving by switching over.
Oh, I'm in the middle of dealing with that right now, aren't I, Dan? Dan knows. I was talking to him about this earlier today. I'm dealing with this exact thing.
Yeah. So before we jump into making that transition to a cloud solution and making that as smooth as possible, I wanted there's always some news. Of course, we were off. We took a hiatus for 3 weeks, so that just allowed for lots of news to come in without without us talking about it on the workshop. And I prematurely shared my screen, so I apologize while Matthew was was saying all these things. But I wanted to share this article here that is on Intuit's website that really has a lot of what are they up to types of situations. So they are instituting a new pricing model for QuickBooks Enterprise, right? And then QuickBooks Enterprise is now Intuit's desktop flagship product, right? So this article is talking about understanding the changes that are coming. And as you read the article, it does not tell you what those changes are. So how can you have an article that says understand the changes when it doesn't illustrate what those itemize out what those changes actually are? But all this is telling you people to do is go in. They've updated their terms and conditions, right? So you have to go into your Camps account inside of Intuit and accept those terms and conditions. Otherwise, just like any terms and conditions, if you don't accept them, there could be an interruption to your service, right? So we don't know what the details of this is. However, just by taking the title here of per employee and multi-company file fees, that tells me that they're going to be charging at some point for per employee within each particular company and multiple files, because that's the big difference between the desktop platform and the online as far as the cost of the subscription. Where QuickBooks Online, you have each entity represents its own subscription cost, and then in desktop you pay for the software license for however many people use it. And the advantage, of course, is as long as you have hard drive space, you can create any number of company files on your desktop computer, right? So here they are. I'm going to make it a little bigger here so we can read it. So they are changing those terms and conditions. Now they tell you here at this time, there's no change for per employee fees or multi-company file fees. If like, why would they even say if? Like, when? This is not an if but when thing. If either of these fees change, we'll notify you 30 days in advance.
Wait a minute. So they're saying go in and accept the terms and conditions right now. We're not going to tell you what the fees may be, but just go accept it. Then we'll give you a 30-day heads up of what those fees will be. But you got to accept the terms and conditions first.
Yep. Yeah. Well, if any South Park fans are are watching, if you've ever seen the episode of the Sentai Pad, you know all about those terms and conditions and what what they can have. Now we've got people looking up YouTube for the Sentai Pad,
I
where
can imagine.
Apple terms and conditions. We're all about that. I mean, nobody reads them, right? I mean, nobody looks at the terms and conditions. They just accept the end user license agreement and move on, because you can't install said software unless you accept them. But of course, when they make a change to that after you've already accepted them, then of course you have to accept them again, right?
And I think we know where this is going.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, gold. There's 4 precious metals for QuickBooks Enterprise: silver, gold, platinum, and they ran out of metals, so they went to diamond. So gold and higher, so everything but silver, includes a payroll service, right? And there's no additional fees per employee fees, which across the QuickBooks ecosystem, they charge per active employee, right? So if you have employees that you're running payroll for, there's going to be a per employee charge each month for running that payroll, and that covers your direct deposit fees and those types of things, because we've had all sorts of a la carte costs for that, pay per paycheck or pay per direct deposit and those types of things, and now they've kind of consolidated that into a monthly per employee charge. So desktop, in especially with these bundled services of gold, platinum, and diamond, did not have that per employee charge, right? So they're just setting the stage, for that to happen, because they found that people are probably migrating or changing to Enterprise Gold to avoid paying those fees, right? This is like when people use PayPal or Venmo to pay to pay for services, so they don't have to pay those fees, right? So this is just
they caught on.
Yeah,
they
busted us. Because we were recommending that for for clients who are on Pro or Premier, and rather than adding on payroll, well, let's just go to Enterprise because you don't have to pay those fees. Well, now there's like, oh.
Yeah, they found out what you were doing, Dan. They were like, that Dan DeLong is recommending people go to gold.
Wouldn't be the first time Intuit busted me on something. So this is all in service to making people uncomfortable in desktop on the pricing, to invite, and I'm trying to say this as most politically correct as I can, to invite people to have is it time now to move to QuickBooks Online, just because there's a cost factor that's kind of driving. This is the triggering event that's probably going to drive people to at least have this conversation yet again, right? So,
and we can do all the inventory functions in the cloud, right, Matt?
Absolutely, with another app that seamlessly integrates.
Not QuickBooks Online. It's so funny because somebody asked yesterday in one of my groups, can you do all these functions in QuickBooks Online Advanced? And I was like, absolutely not. Unfortunately, you have to use an app. But that's okay, because there's a whole community of us that are, I know maybe like a fraction of what there is to know. But I mean, I spend every single day learning more and more and more and more, as much as I can, about external inventory apps. And like, I depend on people like you, because we've got to bring these people into the cloud.
Right. Now, and you bring up a good point, Rachel, about, hey, it says advanced. They market it as a mid-market thing. Yeah. And then now there's this new shiny Intuit Enterprise Suite.
Yep. People think that adds on more inventory functions. We've already talked about that here. No, it does not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all based off of the service offering that you have in QuickBooks Online, right? Yeah. So, and we've talked ad nauseum about the inventory functions in QuickBooks Online. I've got a little QR code up there for our advanced inventory landing page there, which takes you to a blog. We have, an inventory fundamentals course. It's school of bookkeeping, all about the things that you can do in QuickBooks Online versus desktop and those types of things. So check it out if you want. You can check out those things. But when it comes to QuickBooks Online and inventory management, the simplest way to put the inventory management inside of QuickBooks Online is I buy stuff and I sell that same stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need to know.
Even in advanced.
Yeah.
And so that's and like I was just gonna say, and we've talked about this before, if that's what you're doing, in a lot of circumstances, you can do it just fine. And I have clients that do that.
Yeah. If you need to make plans with that stuff, or you need to know anything extra about that stuff, QuickBooks Online is not going to be your end-to-end solution when it comes to managing your inventory. So that's where you have to look. If you are making that transition from QuickBooks Desktop, where you were doing some of those things with, inventory assemblies, or, the advanced inventory functions of multiple sites, and traceability of serial numbers and lot numbers with expiration dates, or barcoding, picking, packing, shipping, calculating landed cost, all of those things that are adding on those advanced functions inside of your inventory management. QuickBooks Online is not going to be the solution for you, at least for an end-to-end process. And you're going to need something that talks to QuickBooks Online that allows you to do that. So this news, right, is probably going to drive a whole lot of people to either have a knee-jerk reaction. All right, well, just move to QuickBooks Online, and then they find out later, oh, yeah, right. So we can help. We can help with that at School of Bookkeeping, as far as we have a data migration course. We have all the things that should help you determine what's going to transition over to QuickBooks Online, right? Like if I've got an inventory assembly, what's going to happen to that item over in QuickBooks Online, and if I've got it in desktop, and what happens with that bill of materials and those types of things. So we can help with that. We also have a bundling option where you can bundle your QuickBooks Online, and we can do some of the migration steps for you to move from desktop to online. But I wanted to bring on Matt because when you have these advanced inventory functions in something else, and you're moving them to a cloud-based solution, you're really going to need someone with Matt's expertise to really sit on your side of the table and evaluate your workflows and determine where those workflows are going to go, because it's not just a simple matter of exporting your data to QuickBooks Online and then adding on an app and woof, I'm on my way, right, Matt?
100%. Yeah, like there's a lot to consider with it, and that's what we see a lot whenever companies are switching, say, from desktop or enterprise to online, is that they really oversimplify kind of everything. They oversimplify the requirements.
Marketing.
Yeah, well,
they say this word's. I mean, my new trigger word for 2025 is seamless.
Yeah.
There seems to be the overused word is seamless integration, right?
Or how about set it and forget it?
Yes, the Popeil.
Yeah.
But I think I said seamless integration a couple minutes ago, so sorry for triggering you, Dan. But
certain aspects are seamless, and for the things that are seamless, I love it.
Yeah, like when you find that diamond in the rough, where it is it's that sweet spot of integration. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
right?
or you configure it properly where it is seamless. It's that outcome that's really cool, but it takes a while to get to that because you got to calibrate a few things and sometimes a lot of things and screw it up and then fix it and then screw it up and then fix it. I mean, just kidding.
Well,
Never happens.
I think I see about like with integrations as well, and when speaking with, say, the accountant's perspective and doing some of these transitions, well, here's well, this tool, it integrates with QuickBooks Online, so that's all I need. But every app may totally work completely different in terms of how it integrates with QuickBooks Online. Like some of it starts with the inventory system and then pushes certain data points to QuickBooks Online, and just what it pushes over can vary, among the different tools. And some of them are designed where it starts in QuickBooks and then it gets initiated to the inventory system. So, just because you go to an inventory apps website and it says, yeah, we integrate with QuickBooks Online, it's important to dig a bit deeper in terms of, well, how is this going to work with QuickBooks Online? And is that working the way that I want it to? Because although I'm not an accountant, I've been speaking with so many accountants over the last several years. And what I found is that, there's not just one way of doing things. There's many different preferences as to how they want to have their financial data set up. And depending on the company's flows and how their data works, the integration may not be as seamless as they anticipated from the beginning. It may not do what they want to do at all. And then it comes into like a costly custom integration or needing to switch the inventory and manufacturing software altogether to find one that can work with their accounting program the way that they want it to.
Yeah, and I will say that it's also risky if done wrong because you could potentially cause duplication and a lot of errors. And I've learned now over the past couple of years is really take your time in the beginning to make sure that you're really working with somebody that understands how to do it. And it takes a while to perfect. Man, it's a journey.
And then this thing like this, right? So they're going to tell people in 30 days, right?
Yeah.
They're going to give people 30 days of runway, to, and that's going to cause panic. I think for some companies, they're gonna see this and go like, I got to get off of QuickBooks Desktop tomorrow.
Yeah, well, and then also if you're like maybe an accountant in QuickBooks Desktop, you're like, what do I tell my clients? The prices are going to go up, but I can't tell you how much. I mean, that's so lame to do that to, this poor accountants that are in Desktop. They can't give their clients any information, and I would be upset if that were me.
Yeah, it seems from kind of the outside perspective of it is that Intuit for the last many years has been trying to push the users from desktop to online, and it seems to be like a new surprise every year of what are they going to throw next to try to really push people in that direction.
Oh yeah, I mean just the pricing increase from Pro. Now you look at when they started the subscription for Pro, which was the lowest level of QuickBooks Desktop, where it was $249 purchase every other 3 years for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now today it's $999 every year, whether you upgrade it or not, right? So it's that's a huge increase just from 2021, right? Like that's only 3 years in the making. You look at that process, or for the Canadians, process. If you look at that, evolution of just the pricing, that has, I mean, I try to say it nicely and say they're encouraging, right? But I mean, they are, to your point, they are pushing.
And you know what? I did want to add too. just, in the, just because we're kind of like coming up on time. A lot of this too isn't even necessarily about the accounting going from like something like desktop to a cloud-based IMS. A lot of it is because we're in now this world where we're dealing with automation, we're dealing with AI, we're dealing with a lot of different things. Like at Net Deposited, we've become integration experts. Not because I woke up one day and I was like, oh, I just kind of want to learn integration. It was just like out of necessity. So we integrate a lot of systems together. And the great thing about Katana is that they have native integrations with other things. Now, I am really good with integration with the e-commerce platforms, the Shopify, the GL, QBO. I can integrate all that stuff. But then these businesses are like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm going to be coming off of desktop. I want to use a lot of these other automation tools while I'm doing this. And I just had somebody reach out to me just yesterday and was like, I want to go into a cloud-based IMS, but I want the entire thing integrated with HubSpot. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. Matt. So I reached out to Matt. And so they're experts at all of the other things too, and like integrating the whole system together to bring it with full cloud automation. So a lot of the businesses that are like, oh, I have to get off of desktop now is sort of the catalyst because of this pricing. Oh, well, now's my opportunity. If I'm going to be changing up a whole bunch of stuff, I want to go with something where I can now integrate my CRM. I can integrate, all these things that HubSpot does. And I have like a general understanding of what it is, but I could never allocate the time to learn it right now. So the fact that, groups like ABX can help with so much more for me is just as important as being able to just deal with the accounting and the flow of information from the IMS. I find that to be really, really important.
Yeah, 100%. Like I've been seeing a shift in the market over the last 10 years or so of moving from just the all-in-one system, ERP, to wanting a more flexible tech stack. Their sales team may want to leverage the AI tools that are available in HubSpot. They may want to sell on more modern e-commerce channels. They may not want 50 to 100 people in their accounting system, so they want to kind of separate that as well. So that's where it's seeing kind of different.
Everybody needs to be in QuickBooks. Come on.
Yeah, they don't want to lock themselves into something. It's like getting the old TV with the built-in VCR. Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to like put together some things so that way, if this one, I don't want to use that in a couple of years, I can then pull in something else that does more things. And the technology is moving so quickly. I mean, it changes so fast that, this kind of setup I love, because even with my firm, I'm like, oh, yeah, we can't use that anymore. That's obsolete. Bring that in, integrate it, just like that, plug and play. So it's become really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I just in my own living arrangements, right? I live and work in an RV, right? Like, so the whole idea of driving my house was not something that I wanted all in one, because if I need a tire change, I'm homeless, right? Or so I chose something that I could disconnect the vehicle from the house, so that I didn't have to have that. Now, we do have some challenges every once in a while where you have to have work done, on one or the other, but we get to be a little bit more nimble. But Matt, I wanted to ask you, so like, what is your preferred runway of time, to really evaluate with the customer what it is that they do and their workflows, and then getting to that recommendation of this is the tech that we're going to use to do that? What is your ideal, right? Like, I assume it's less than or more than 30 days that Intuit is offering people, or what that it takes.
Well, it all depends. Like I see kind of two situations. One is that they need a new tech stack or a new system in place by this specific date because there's going to be a lot of other challenges if they don't meet that date. Maybe it's that they're locked into their software tool for another period that they don't want to pay for. Or maybe it's that they're, opening up a new location or a new sales channel and they need all of this to fit in together by that date or else they can't launch. So we have customers where they have a very specific timeline that then we need to work with. And then we have another profile of customers where timing isn't as important as getting it right. And we of course like to find the right way to do things versus kind of a scramble just to meet a deadline. Like what the situation that we don't necessarily love is whenever client comes to us and they say, okay, we are moving from desktop to online and we've picked this as our inventory tool, and it looks fine, and they didn't talk to anyone in the
Yeah.
operations or the warehouse or anything like that, because I think the success of a lot of these transitions and these types of projects is it comes down to people. It's not just about the data and the tools. It's about the organizational readiness of being able to switch, from the way that they may have been doing things for years or decades to the new way of doing things. And is their new tool set, does it have all of the features, requirement, things like that they need to make that transition seamless? And sometimes when we get into these projects when they're already like set on their new tech stack, and we didn't even see their data yet and all that, then we take a look at their data and we're like, hey, it looks like you've been tracking, this piece of information, and this inventory tool that you selected can't capture that or work with that. So we like to kind of come in at the beginning before they're locked in with the new tech stack to kind of be like their agent or realtor, like help them to with their evaluation. And it doesn't need to take a long time, but it's just that we know the market, we know the different tools and what works well in certain situations, because unfortunately, people lie. Sales reps lie, and
What?
I know I'm from sales, and it just pains me to say it, but it happens from time to time. Or even that they may not lie; they may have the best intentions, but they may have not fully understood something or wasn't aware of something that's going to be an issue down the road. So that's where we see a lot of is a manufacturing company or a company in a certain industry. They may be very good at what they're doing, but this might be their first time really looking at software for these purposes, and they might really not fully understand all the requirements, all the things that they should be looking for, all the things that they should be asking, and rather, because what we also see with a lot of softwares is that there's sort of I call it like MVP ADD. So it's like we just need to build like a minimal viable product of every little feature so that we can just check it off the list and say we have it.
Yeah.
And then, but does it really do the job in the way that you're wanting to, or is it just sort of a just a minimal thing that doesn't even like fit the bill for them? So this is where we try to help them to make sure that what they need is going to be handled with like a solution that will work for the long term. Like all of our projects go quite well, except when we look back at the ones where didn't go well, it was because we kind of inherited a tech stack and we were more like a support team, and then we're like, hey, this isn't going to work because of this, and this.
Hard.
And then
that's really hard. And then they're so far in that I'm dealing with that now. And they're so far in that they don't want to switch because they've already invested so much time and effort and don't want to feel like they failed. And so they're just like, make it work.
100%. And I see that like a lot with companies where, basically they're committed at this point. We got to find a way to make it work no matter what. And then it just kind of hits a brick wall. And then the big problem that I see in those situations is then the whole team has lost faith in the entire initiative altogether. And then it's like, okay, let's just go back to the old way of doing things.
Yeah. And then they're even more resistant to change.
Yeah, next time
Even though-
around. Yeah.
Even though it might be for the better.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah, and so for the companies where they don't have like a major like timing milestone that they need to hit, and if it's like a big kind of initiative for the project, if they know that okay, there's some members of our team here that aren't really fully bought in with the whole change and why we're doing this and all that, is sometimes those are doomed to fail if it's like just trying a massive undertaking from the beginning and switching everything all at once. So if timing is a bit flexible, sometimes we think it's appropriate to work on like a proof of concept type of project where it's like a mini implementation, smaller subset of their data. But okay, if we can make it work with like these products or these types of orders or these types of customers, then the rest of it should follow suit. And then still working with their current or previous tool set. So if it doesn't work, then at least we have the backup of everything and like no harm done. But where I see it's like losing all that motivation, buy-in, and all that is whenever they just want to make that switch. We're just going to pull off the band-aid and we're going to do it no matter what. And then those situations can work, but they need to be really well thought out from the beginning.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to leverage ABX or refer a client, if they don't have the bandwidth or the bandwidth, as the case may be, to be able to do that full service type of implementation, how would they get in contact with you? Is email the best way, or go into your website, or?
Yeah. So can email me at Matt, M-A-T-T, at abx.group, or go to our website at www.abx.group, and there's a link there to book like an introductory call or like a tech stack assessment. So you can book a quick chat with us. We can talk about your client situation, where we may be able to help, and so the introductory meeting, that's completely free, so don't feel like you're gonna get a bill just for reaching out to us. So we try to keep things pretty cool there, and then a little later on we would then put a proposal together for the client if we're to help. But we love collaborating with accounting firms because, like I said, we're not accountants, so we're not there to steal any accounting business or anything like that. We're there to kind of focus on the inventory side of things or the manufacturing side of things, kind of adding an extension of expertise to your accounting firm. So like that arrangement typically works quite well.
Well, I did put both your email address and your website in the comments here, so all of our social channels should have a flood of inbox information to you, Matt. Hopefully by the end of the day. Yeah, everybody get on that.
Perfect. But, I need to get a new pair of Hey Dudes to keep up with
yeah. Exactly. So Matt, I really appreciate you joining us here today and lending your expertise in this whole idea of how do we make a smooth, I'm not going to use the word seamless, but a smooth transition to a cloud-based inventory management solution. Matt and the fine folks at ABX Group can help with that. Appreciate you joining us here today. And next week we're going to be talking about we have a pivot because Sean was going to be joining us, where we're going to talk about just building things and the comparison between desktop and online, but he has a conflict, so we're going to pivot with a topic and then have Sean on in a couple weeks. So hopefully you guys can join us on the next Workshop Wednesday, and we hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.